Hello everyone. So in today's session, we are going to start with the environmental studies syllabus. So in the last session, I completed certain concepts on child psychology, as well as I completed the first chapter on environmental science, environmental studies, that is regarding our environment. Today we are going to discuss the second chapter. So in the second chapter, we have a chapter named as Living World. So in a living world, we have the first unit as life process. So in life process, again, we have many units. So life process, this lesson has been derived from class 10th. This lesson has been selected from class 10th. Okay. So in this, today we are going to discuss in the life process about nutrition. So in Kannada, we will call it as poshane. So we will get it around, we may get around 2 marks on any of the life process based on this chapter. In TET and in CTET, you may get around 3 marks. So this is regarding the introduction of a topic. So life process means life. So when you consider anything, a thing, it might be a non-living or a living. So when you consider a thing, how will you distinguish between non-living and living? Non-living and living. So if a thing is a living thing or living organism, it has certain characteristics, right? So certain characteristics like living organisms will be having. So it should be in movement. It should move from one place to another place. It should respire. It should grow. It should reproduce. So these all are the basic characteristics of a living organism. So the processes or in Kannada we will call it as kriyegalu. The processes which are necessary for a living organism to stay alive, to exist. So those processes which are necessary to stay alive or to exist, that processes in the living organisms are termed as life processes. In Kannada, we will call it as Jiva Kriyegalu. So without these processes, an organism cannot stay alive or cannot exist, we can say. So in the life process, first we have nutrition, poshane we will call, or we can also call it as digestion, breaking down of food, jeerna kriya. Okay. Next we have, after nutrition, we have respiration, usirata kriya. After respiration, we have transportation, saganike. After transportation, we have excretion, visarjana kriya. So these all are the life processes which are involved. In the living organism, we can also observe one of the process which is called as reproduction. But it is not considered under life process. It is not considered under life process because it is a necessary product, but not mandatory or not compulsory process. So did you observe any organism which will die without reproduction? But without excretion, without respiration, without digestion, or without obtaining the nutrients, the organisms will die. But without reproduction, we cannot see any organism which will die. So that is why reproduction is not considered under life process. Let us proceed to the next slide. So as I said you before, just a minute. Life processes are the basic processes in living organism which are necessary for maintaining their life. The basic life processes which includes here are nutrition, then respiration, then after that you have transportation, excretion, right? Transportation and excretion. So nutrition, as we are going to discuss regarding nutrition here, regarding the nutrition, it is the process of taking food by an organism and its utilization. Utilization means how they will get the nutrients from the food. That is called as nutrition. And after the nutrition, once the nutrients are absorbed by the body, the energy has to be released from the nutrients. So that will be done by respiration. So respiration is the process by which food is burnt in the cells of the body with the help of oxygen to release energy. Respiration is not only taking oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide. The major function of respiration is it releases energy with the help of oxygen. Next one is the absorbed energy should be transported. The absorbed oxygen should be transported to every part of the cell or every part of the body or every cell of the body. So that food, oxygen, energy, water and waste products will be carried to entire body, to all the cells of the body from one part to another by a medium or by a fluid called blood. So this process is called as transportation. Next, once the cell will use up the energy, once the cell will use up the food or nutrients, once the cells will use up the oxygen. So after the reactions inside the cell, certain wastes will be released by the cell. Certain wastes will be released by the cell. So that waste should be removed out of the body. That will be done by excretion. So all these life processes are there, no? These are necessary processes and these are cyclic processes. Understood, all of you? Next we have here, as I said, we are going to discuss regarding nutrition today. So the nutrition has been classified mainly into three types here: saprophytic, parasitic, holozoic. Saprophytic means what? It is nutrition in which organisms get their food from the dead and decaying organisms. Dead and decaying, ಕೊಳೆಯುವ. Okay, so ಕೊಳೆಯುತ್ತಿರುವ. They will get the food from dead and decaying organism. What they will do actually, they break down the food material outside their body and they absorb it. Very important here. So as they will feed on dead and decaying organism, they break down the food into simple materials, so that it will be easy for them to absorb. Example are mushroom, bread mold. Bread mold means you will get, once you keep the bread in an open atmosphere, you can observe certain blackish structure on it, which is called as bread mold. Yeast, some bacteria. So these all are the example of saprophytic nutrition. These organisms are called saprotrophs. These are termed as saprotrophs. Next we have parasitic nutrition. What is this parasitic nutrition? It is a nutrition in which organisms get their food from living organism. So in which they will take shelter, no? That living organism is called as host, without killing them. Example is Cuscuta. Cuscuta is a plant, as you can observe here. This is a Cuscuta. One minute. This is Cuscuta, what you are observing, no? This one. So this is winded up around some plant. This is a main plant, what you are observing. So the leaf is there, no? That is a main plant actually. 1 minute. So this is a main plant, and whatever you are observing here, this is the Cuscuta. So this Cuscuta will depend or will take the shelter on the other plant, okay? And it will not kill the plant, but it will absorb the nutrients of that plant. They will absorb the nutrients of that plant, and so that this plant will not get enough nutrition. This plant will not get enough nutrition. This is called as parasitic nutrition. Ticks, lice. Lice andre we can call it as henu anta. Head lice. What they will do? They will absorb the nutrients from the human beings or from the animals, okay, without killing them. Leeches, jigane, what we will call. Roundworm, tapeworm, plasmodium. Plasmodium is a organism which causes malaria. Plasmodium causes malaria. It is a protozoa which causes malaria. The disease will spread by Anopheles mosquito. So, but which will cause the malaria? Plasmodium will cause malaria. Next, we have holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition means what? Nutrition in which organism take food directly and then digest and absorbs it. So, what happens here? Here the organisms take the food, take the food and then digest and absorb it inside its body. So, it is called as holozoic nutrition. We have amoeba, paramecium, birds, fishes, humans, etc. Next. So, nutrition is mainly classified into autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. In autotrophic, the organism will prepare their own food. For example, bacteria here. Okay. In heterotrophic, what happens? The organisms will depend on other organisms for their food. So, in types of heterotrophic nutrition, we will get saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic nutrition, which we discussed just now. Okay. Next. So, first we have nutrition in plants. So, we know that plants are autotrophic nutrition. They are autotrophs. Autotrophs means what? The organisms which have the ability to prepare their own food. Auto means self. Trophs means preparation, self-preparation. So, the autotrophs prepare the food by a specialized process which is called as photosynthesis. In Kannada, we will call it as Dyuti Samshleshane Kriya. So, in photosynthesis, what happens? The plant will absorb water from roots, okay? And it will absorb carbon dioxide from atmosphere. It will absorb water from roots. And in the chlorophyll, in presence of sunlight, this carbon dioxide will combine or will react with water to form a product called glucose, C6H12O6. Okay, so to form a food, that is a glucose carbohydrate. Okay, so along with the carbohydrate, oxygen is released as a byproduct. Along with the carbohydrate, oxygen is released as a byproduct. So which are the products of photosynthesis? Glucose and oxygen. So as you can see, the equation of photosynthesis, which is very important, when carbon dioxide, which is absorbed from atmosphere, and water, which is absorbed from roots, in presence of sunlight in the chlorophyll, it forms glucose. Okay, this is glucose. Then water as well as oxygen. Right. So here what happens is, as I said, carbon dioxide is absorbed. So how it is absorbed? No doubt water is absorbed from the soil with the help of the roots. Then who will absorb carbon dioxide? Because plants don't have a structure as nose and all, nose, lungs and all. Then how it will absorb carbon dioxide, that we will see later. First, we will see process of photosynthesis. What all happens? First thing is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Patra haritu we will call. For chlorophyll in Kannada, they will call it as Patra haritu. So, what is the function of this Patra haritu or chlorophyll? It will absorb the sunlight. After absorbing the sunlight or light energy will be converted into chemical energy and splitting up of water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. So light energy, when it converts into chemical energy, the first thing is the water will split up. The water will break down into hydrogen and oxygen, photolysis of water. Then reduction of carbon dioxide into by hydrogen to form uh, carbohydrate. So whatever the hydrogen is released here, no, so that will reduce carbon dioxide. That will reduce means that will remove oxygen from this carbon dioxide and makes that carbon dioxide to form carbohydrate, which is nothing but a glucose. So glucose is a simple carbohydrate. So this all processes occurs during photosynthesis. Next we have, yeah. So when we think about the chlorophyll, these are nothing but the green pigments, patraharittu, no? So these are nothing but the green pigments which are present in the leaves. If we observe it under microscope, so we will get this. If we observe it under microscope, we will get this structure. So this is a leaf tissue, what you are seeing. This is upper layer, which is called upper epidermis. This is a lower layer, which is called lower epidermis. In between, you can see some brick-like cells, some pillar-like cells, and some isodiametric or spherical cells. So this whole thing is called as mesophyll tissue, or we can say leaf tissue. The whatever this column-like or brick-like cells are there, no, this type of tissue is called palisade mesophyll tissue, and which are round, no, spherical. This is called spongy mesophyll or spongy leaf tissue. So whatever this lower layer and upper layer will be there, no, these lower and upper layer will be covered by a waxy substance which is called cuticle. So what is the function of cuticle? It will not allow the excess loss of water. It will not allow the excess loss of water. Right. And here you can see in between the epidermis, you can see certain gaps, okay, and certain cells like this. So these are called as stomata. These are the pores on the leaves, holes on the leaves, which are called as stomata. What is the function of stomata? Stomata function in exchange of gases. In photosynthesis, it will absorb carbon dioxide. Okay, next, when we take a section of chlorophyll, we will get this. So this is nothing but the whole thing is called as granum. The single sac-like structure is called as thylakoid. Thylakoid will be arranged in the form of a coins, which is called granum. Okay, and the each granum are connected by this kind of structures, connecting structures, which are called lamella. Inside the thylakoid, there will be a gap, or there will be a space which is called lumen, and this granum will be floating in a fluid, aqueous fluid, which is called stroma. So the chlorophyll will be made up of two layers. One is outer membrane and the other one is inner membrane. So this is regarding the chlorophyll and the photosynthesis. Yeah, I said no, stomata. These are the microscopic observation of stomata here. Okay, these are the stomata. So the stomata will be having kidney-shaped cells which are called as guard cells. Why these are called as guard cells? These guard cells guard or supervise the opening and closing of stroma. The gap is there, no, this hole. It is called as stroma or stomatal pore. So this stomatal pore will be guided or guarded by these kidney-shaped cells, which are called guard cells. So whenever these kidney shaped cells will be having the water, they are turgid. Andre, they will be having enough water, then they will open the pore so that the carbon dioxide will enter in. So whenever these kidney shaped cells don't have a water, so the stomatal pore will close like this, right? So the opening and closing of the stomatal pore or a stoma depends on these kidney shaped cells or a guard cells. Okay, this is regarding the stomata. Yeah. So here we have one activity of show that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Here we have to only concentrate on the applied questions from it. So we have to take a potted plant which is having variegated leaves. Variegated leaves means the leaves which are not completely green. Here variegated leaves means which are not completely green. So they will be having the mixture, it should be having green color along with any other color. So which is not completely green. Keep it in a dark room. Why we have to keep it in a dark room means the starch which is present, the food, the stored food in plants is called as starch, right? So the stored food which is present should be used up. Okay. Then keep it in sunlight again for 6 hours. Then take a leaf from the plant and mark the green areas. If this is a leaf, okay, and it has certain green patches like this. So this is a green patch. Okay, so what we have to do is take a leaf then from the plant and mark the green areas of the leaf wherever the green color is present, okay, on the sheet of paper. Then you have to dip the leaf in a boiling water. Why? To make it soft. Then dip the leaf in alcohol and heat it in a water. Why you have to dip it in alcohol and heat it in a water? Because to decolorize it. Decolorize it means to remove the color and remove the chlorophyll from it. Then wash the leaf in a water and dip it in a dilute iodine solution. After putting alcohol and boiling it in a boiling water, so what happens? You have to put it in iodine solution. It will be seen that only green part of the leaf, this part of the leaf will be there, no? It turns black. This shows that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Why? Because only green parts which are present, no? Only their photosynthesis occurred. Okay, only their photosynthesis occurred. That is why the starch is produced there. So when iodine reacts with starch, we will get blue or black color, which indicates that the starch is present, and which also indicates chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. In same way, we have to do the activity or demonstrate the activity to show that sunlight, carbon dioxide is necessary. So for that, we have to consider two potted plants which of same size. Keep them in a dark room so that the starch will be used up. Then keep the plants on separate glass plates. You have to keep a watch glass which is containing the potassium hydroxide. Okay, the function of potassium hydroxide is it has the ability to absorb the carbon dioxide. Cover both the plants with bell jars and seal the bottom with Vaseline. Keep the plants now in a sunlight. So like prepare the apparatus like this and then keep it in a sunlight for 3 hours. So when you take a leaf from each plant and test for a starch, the leaf plant which is kept in a jar containing potassium hydroxide, which will not show the presence of starch. That is, when you put the iodine to that leaf, it will not turn to blue or black because starch is not there. Why? Because the carbon dioxide which has to be absorbed from the stomata, it is absorbed from the potassium hydroxide itself. So there is no photosynthesis. If there is no photosynthesis, there is no formation of starch. That is why this activity shows us that carbon dioxide is necessary for the photosynthesis. This is regarding the nutrition in plants. Regarding nutrition in animals, that is like amoeba and human beings, we will study in the next session. I hope the session is clear. Please be supporting like this. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment on it. Until that, take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.